Hey everyone, I'm in Ibiza. I really wanted to make this video while I'm in Ibiza. The camera situation is really precarious because we have natural light here, which is quite beautiful, and I want to make use of that. So today's video is going to be, I want to make two videos, one right after the other. The first one, the one that you have come to watch, is going to be about my jewelry journey. So as you know, a lot of you might know because I've been drilling you on Instagram and everywhere, I've started producing jewelry. This is one of my first, well, this is my first piece. Let's clean it a bit. That I designed completely from scratch with no references, because you know, a lot of the pieces in jewelry, I have a starting point. Like if I want to do something quite basic like an engagement ring, they're kind of, that does exist, you know, it's always the same shape, it's kind of round, and then you build from there. But this piece, nothing about it existed. It was created from scratch, from my sketches, for me, for this stone in particular that I have. I'll put a link to the picture. I've been photographing it these last few days here in Ibiza because the light is appropriate. So it's really beautiful. It has the back, which is like a window. It's meant to be a bit like a spaceship. That was my idea, to make the shape exactly like a saucepan kind of spaceship with the windows, the sapphire here, and the window at the back. I just like the symbolism of windows, of opening. So I'm gonna tell you how this happened. So I'm an artist. I like creating and producing stuff. I've always liked producing stuff and creating stuff. There came a moment in my life where I had to kind of focus, so I went into music and I was producing music. But ever since I was a little girl, I have been designing. I have sketches and I've been designing jewelry, fashion, handbags, all of these things simultaneously since I was like 4 years old, since I could speak or make anything. So this has been an interest of mine for a long time. And I believe, I know that we live in a cultural moment right now where there's a bit of a war against materialism, which I participate in, and it's not what's important, and you don't want to accumulate, but still there's something about tangible objects and talismans, and probably the biggest manifestation of a talisman would be in jewelry. There is something about objects that have an energy that you can imbue them with that energy, or sometimes they come with that energy. When you're around objects that make you happy, they really do bring a vibrational pull. So I really like things that you can touch, that you can own, that you can give. And with music, you know, I love music and I still make music, and I always will, because I'm a singer and I'm a writer, and that's just one of the things I do. But one of the things that frustrates me about it is that I have nothing. When I was a little girl, when I was making, I had cassettes, I had CDs, I had things that you could sell. But nowadays, you just don't have anything tangible that you can send to people. People are distracted with streaming and other things, and it just doesn't translate the way my mind has thought about it for the audience to receive it. So that doesn't work. So that's something I needed, another outlet. And I have tried different things. I tried fashion for a while. You know, some of you who have followed me for a long time, my life or my YouTube life, you will have seen that I had my Ibiza with Love concept, which is a brand that I still own, which was to make ad-lib clothing, and that was handmade, and that was beautiful. Then I went into a few different things. I went into handbags. I produced handbags for a while, but then I had this prototype, didn't really work. And then they ended up doing the same prototype. The producer that was doing my prototypes ended up giving them to another company who is now exhibiting in Liberty. So it's like, okay, that's not gonna work. And now I can't compete with that, you know, it's like, you take. So I had just chanced upon the opportunity of making these sapphire beads necklaces, because I had always bought them. And I remember back in the day of starting YouTube, I had a video about my jewelry collection, and it was one of my most popular videos. And then when I eventually took it off, people kept asking me, you know, can you put it up again? I loved your jewelry video. Can you do another updated version of the jewelry video? I've always loved jewelry, precisely for the reasons that I stated, because they're talismans, and it's something that you can easily carry with you, and it's wearable art. I really like the idea of wearable art. So I've also done t-shirts. There's all these things. I really want to do notebooks. There's just all these things that I want to do. And it just seemed this year like the right moment to produce jewelry objects. So that's why I did it. It was just the stars aligned in a way that they enabled me to do it. And how that happened is I was creating these beads necklaces. I was creating a few different things because I had selected, you know, a few earrings and rings that I liked from other brands, and I had met some suppliers just for myself to make these rings. And then some friends were asking me if they could have one too, and I was like, sure, I'll hook you up, you know, the supplier. And I was doing so much work already, and one of these suppliers, because they saw me that I was really interested, they were like, why don't you come to our showroom, which is at the jewelry fair in London, and then you can really see all of our stones. So she invited me, she extended a personal invitation to go to see her at the fair. Now, I had a company already, so I was able to go to the fair via my company. So I wasn't really going as a visitor, I was going as a brand or retailer or whatever you want to call it. But my badge said the name of my company, and it said, I think it said fashion buyer or fashion retailer or fashion company, something like that. Essentially what my company is. So I went there, people started talking to me like I was a fashion buyer. And because over there you get mixed, everybody that's there can be somebody. Like there's a lot of really big fashion buyers from department stores. So when you meet a supplier, he doesn't really know the extent of your status, whether you're a really big person in the industry or not. So a lot of people were treating me like a really big person in this, and I loved it because then they gave me so much information and I was just taking it all in, and I'm just really passionate about it and about products and each piece of jewelry that they were showing me. I was like, wow, this is amazing. So at first I was like, maybe I'll get something for myself. I met up with the company that had hooked me up with the fair. I ordered a couple of samples from them. Some of them were not up for it. Some of them were really game for it. But anyway, that's how I started. I just started seeing what it would cost me. I didn't even order that many things, but I was mostly doing research. And everything that I did, I noted down. I have a spreadsheet, several notebooks. I would keep everybody's contacts. I have so much information. So I was learning, instead of going to a school, I've been learning by meeting people and asking them about how things work, and even asking them, you know, how do you find that the client likes this, or do they prefer that, or what prices do you think are good or bad, or just asking around. And then through one person and the other, I eventually have met people from all over the world. I've gone to a fair after that one in Naples. I've gone to master classes with really good designers. I've gone to many things. So I have learned a vast amount of information about the jewelry trade and jewelry pieces and gemstones, which I had always known. You know, I have so many books about the healing of gemstones because I had always been interested in that. And in Ibiza, I know a lot of suppliers from here, from before, you know, just from a lifetime of. And as I became familiar with how these people work, it became a possibility to actually produce my own designs, which was something that I had never even dreamed of. I just thought it would be complicated. I thought it would be expensive. I thought it would not be possible. I didn't feel like I deserved it. But because this year I went through a transformation emotionally, which I'm not gonna get into, suddenly things that I thought were impossible have become possible because I've had so much more confidence to pour into these things. And I've become a different person, I think, and I've just been open to new ideas and new pathways. So I hooked up with a couple of jewelers who were up to up for producing some designs that I took to them, and I have a bunch of them. This is just the first one that's coming out, but I have so many things work in progress, because also I was trying different people. I didn't know really who would be effective, how long it would take. A lot of people were taking like 2.5 months. I was looking for what I would like. So with this piece, for example, I found the sapphire. I wanted to encase it in something good, because my idea with these pieces is that I want the materials to be precious metals, precious gemstones, maybe some semi-precious, like I really like colors of tourmaline. High-end though, I want to keep it all fine jewelry, you know. I don't want to go into plated things, because that's a whole different market. It's just, it works differently, the prices are completely different. With plated things, I feel like the price quality is much lower actually. So that's why I ended up going into fine jewelry, because initially I just wanted to make something super simple, but then I saw what the prices were for diamonds and solid gold, and I thought, if only I don't take a lot of profit, then I can offer these things so much better than brands usually do. And of course I bought all these strands of diamonds, which is kind of like one of my signature pieces, because I love beads, and I think it's something so casual looks that you don't see very much. The prices are of course much lower than if they were set in metal. I'm really passionate about platinum, which a lot of people are not doing. So in a sense, what I want to do, what I feel like I need to do, is things that I don't see around. Just like in everything else that I've produced, just like in music, just like in handbags, just things that I come across that I think, this is amazing. How is this not being shared? So I have started very instinctively. I haven't started with the mindset, I am creating a business and thinking about what I am selling. I'm not really thinking about what I'm selling, which might not be the best, smartest thing business-wise. But I just think when you do something with passion and you do something beautiful, then it will go. So what was I saying? So I created this, and oh yeah, the fine jewelry versus non-fine jewelry. So what I have found is there's a lot of crap, especially going through fairs. The price of, you know how I love Monica Vinader pieces? Well, I used to have this huge collection. I still have a lot of things which I am selling, and I still do like them, but it's just, if I make them myself, which granted is a lot of work, but I can't do it. So because I can't do it, I feel like it's more worth it for me, for the same amount of money pretty much that I could buy it from her. I can make it in a precious metal and not in silver, and I can have selected the stones. Obviously not the same amount of money, because then you have to pay production, you have to pay a lot of things in the periphery of the actual, you know, stone or material, everything. There's a lot of add-on costs which you have to think about. But the branding of brands is, I guess, so expensive that their markup is insane. When you buy pieces, for example, the Monica Vinader pieces, if you go to the fair, there's several producers who make pieces like those, and they're about £10. What I want to do is find something that takes a little bit of work, because I like doing that work. I like the developing stage of it, and then I want to make it into something that has value and price it accordingly, not with a huge markup, but according to the value that I have found that it has, depending on how long production took, who I had to hire, because obviously you have to, you know, choose the right person to do each part of the job. One person does polishing, one person does, you know, how they grab the stones onto the metal. Each person specializes on one thing, and I have been investigating who does what thing better and where in the world at a price that I could pay. But I have found that usually the price is worth paying. Like if you want a guarantee and you want a good job, I have ended up hand making my stuff in London, because initially I was going to do it in Thailand, and I still, maybe when I have a bit more knowledge, But right now I'm still learning the language. I'm still learning how to do the sketches so that people understand me, because what I don't want to do is spend a week of my life, which time is money, developing something and then get 10 pieces made in Thailand for less money, but then I have to do 10 because they have a minimum, and then get it back and that not being up to standard. It's still a lot of money and it's just being wasted. I would rather do something that's maybe a bit more, but the money's not wasted because it's gonna be perfect, like this piece ended up being. And you know, I want to make earrings. There's just so much stuff I want to make. So that's my kind of ethos of this thing that I'm doing. And I hesitate to call it a brand because it's not my wish to begin a jewelry brand. That's not how it is. I consider myself an artist who develops concepts, and there is a reasoning behind what I produce, and there is a story, and I want it all to be linked up a little bit. Like I have my manifesto, I have my artwork. My artwork is the backdrop of my jewelry pieces. So I hesitate to call it, the name that I've given it is Sous-Le-Ciel, which I love. It's under the sky, and it's just a phrase that I have always loved. And I thought I was missing something, because initially I didn't want to call it anything. I just wanted to give maybe a name to each piece, but I didn't want to make it all, as I said, a brand, because I just don't feel like I need another brand. I already have so many brands. You know, I have the vlogs and everything I write, and then the music and the artist persona. I've come to a point in my life where everything I do is just a manifestation of my art. And right now, the way that I am manifesting my art is through pieces of jewelry. If I have the opportunity, I will also manifest it through fashion and, you know, all kinds of stuff. I want to make, and I want to keep making everything simultaneously. And I'm not enough of a person to really maintain 10 different brands, because each one needs an Instagram page and a Facebook page, and then you have to build the audience from zero. So I don't know how that's gonna work. I have created another Instagram page. I will link it here. If you can follow me, I'm not gonna bug you a lot. It's just gonna be like basically professional photos of my jewelry, which I am also taking myself. So I'm doing the photography, I'm doing everything how I always like to do it. Just really getting stressed out myself alone. So that's where I am at the moment. So I just wanted to give you a little recap, and I still plan to go to other fairs, because then at first I thought that they would disperse me, but now I find that the more people that I meet, the more I can dialogue and learn from them, and things have become very clear in my life right now. Like when I don't need something, I used to get really distracted, and now I'm at a point where when I don't need something, my mind just pushes it away immediately, and I have the strength to say no, that's not what I want, and just refuse it and move on. And that's something I have learned with time and through starting a bunch of different businesses. So I feel like I have the strength to be able to research a lot without getting into too many things that are going to be superfluous. I think that I can make things that are substantial, and I can do it well. So anyway, I invite you to see what I have been making. I have these kind of pieces which are more expensive because I am producing from scratch, and then I have other kind of pieces which I had taken maybe a reference from, like I want to make not engagement rings, but just eternity rings. So I want to make bespoke eternity rings. Now an eternity ring is an eternity ring, there's not much to it. It's a circular shape, and sure, you can go into some details, but in a sense that's what it is. So there's not a huge amount of development to do with that. And the stones are all the same size. You know, with this one, each stone is a different size. I really went to town with this one. And the next one that I'm doing in this sort of spirit is also, it's also gonna be a trauma. But anyway, I want to do those. But I'm also gonna have the eternity rings, which are going to be simpler because of their nature, what they are. So they will be more affordable, which is important for me, because even though I want everything to be precious metal and precious stones, I want to keep it at a level where it's fair, you know? I want it to be a price quality. According to my production price, I calculate how much I can sell it for, so that I can keep going, basically. It's actually what's happened to me with this pendant is initially I wanted it to be very affordable, and then production costs shot through the roof, and I am not able, sadly, to make this very affordable line. But at the moment I'm doing it by hand, and I have to pay everybody that is doing it, which is a lot of people, so it costs me a lot to make. So yeah, I will calculate the prices this week because I'm meeting my jeweler and she's telling me exactly how much it costs them. And then I have to add in all the diamonds. This has 8 pink diamonds and 4 white diamonds. Pink diamonds are more expensive. I didn't know that when I was producing this, but now I know. But either way, I don't regret it because it's beautiful. The sapphire, you know, also was expensive. It's a really large, beautiful blue sapphire, the color of Cleopatra's bright blue eyeshadow. That's why it's called the Wrath of Cleopatra. And anyway, I don't know what I was saying anymore. So yeah, so this couldn't be that affordable, but I want still to make some pieces which my objective is going to be to make them minimal enough so that they're maybe a bit more affordable at some points. I mean, I don't know. What I'm not gonna give you is overpriced shit. Anyway, don't feel any pressure to support me in this venture, because I know that not everybody can buy jewelry. I couldn't buy jewelry. I'm doing it because for me it's a creative project. I'm doing it because I saw this gap in the market and I thought that I could contribute. I'm always looking for that. As a creator, producer, I want to create things that I feel are important for them to exist in this world. That's a metaphysical aspect of my art, but that is really what it feels like to me. You know, whenever I make something, I feel, because I get this feeling, it's funny because I get it with music and I didn't really get it with that many other things, but I feel it with jewelry. Like when I draw and I get an idea and it's worth it, I can just feel, like you feel this channeling, that you're getting a message and that you have to put it down. It's the same when you're writing lyrics. You're getting something and you have to just like draw it, just boom, and then it manifests, and then there's something about it that makes it different and that makes it special. I would never start producing something via a copy, or because it's just, that's not the objective. That's not the way I'm doing it. I'm trying to talk about it a little bit, because with music I can never talk about it because it's just like nothing to talk about. It's like I'm putting blocks together in Logic in the computer, and the rest of the time I'm just like gathering my thoughts and writing them down. Whereas in jewelry there's this crafting process that's very physical that you can share. So I'm really enjoying sharing that. And also in music you can never share teasers or previews or making of, because everything it's shut down until a label decides to release it or not. 99% of the time they decide not to release it, so then you've lost all of the making of footage, everything that you kind of behind the scenes that you had, and you've lost the final product. Because to be honest, by the time 2 years go by and somebody rejects you, you're not even that excited about that piece of music anymore, so you don't really want to share it with anybody. It's a little bit depressing, but hey, I'm still doing it. I've been developing a project for like 3 years. Maybe one day it will come out and I will be able to show you. Let's be positive. At least I can produce this, and I can produce my boobs t-shirts, which I left at the back of my mind for now, just because I didn't have time to do everything at the same time. This has really taken a lot of time, a lot of actual time of meeting people, because everything needs to be made in person. It doesn't work so well as in music. In music, it's more of a spiritual connection, and you can have Skype. With the jewelry, it's very hands-on, and you have to show people in person, otherwise in my experience it just doesn't work. So anyway, if you want to be updated with what I'm doing, and if you want to be kind to me, follow me here, subscribe here, because I know that half of you are not even subscribed to me. I see it in my analytics. And follow me, my Sous-Le-Ciel, pardon, in Instagram. And what else? And I am still on Snapchat, Adventurous Bee. I will also put my name. And I'll see you around. Let me know what you think. Let me know also, I would love to know actually, because I haven't had that many conversations with people, I haven't had time. What pieces of jewelry do you like? Not that I'm going to make them for you, you know, don't feel that kind of pressure, but just what kind of pieces do you like wearing? What kind of pieces would you like to see? What do you always think, oh, I wish they made this at this price? That's very important. So, you know, anything that you think of that's important to you, or that you like, or that inspires you, let me know. It would be really interesting to know your opinion. I know that a lot of people here share my taste, so it's double interesting for me to hear your opinion. I hope you guys are having a wonderful day, and I'll see you later.